The silver market has temporarily halted its bloodletting, albeit this may only be a temporary fix. I'll fill you in on the why and the what as we continue our exploration. Indeed, silver's price fell significantly for a second consecutive day. The silver market saw another massacre today. It wasn't quite as bad as yesterday, but prices are starting to rise again. However, it did drop to a low of $47.48. Regarding the silver market, there are a lot of things that are shifting and sort of improving. Some of that will be covered shortly when we get down to business. But first, I'd like to bring to your attention Summit Metals, a fantastic channel sponsor known for their lightning-fast shipping and first-rate customer service. Click the link in the description below to check out their assortment of products. Here I will cite an article from FX Street that explains in detail why silver prices have somewhat rebounded today and why they have practically ground to a standstill. Regardless, I believe that returning to $50 per ounce will still be a challenging task. In my opinion, we should be able to reach our goal by year's end. However, challenges will arise during the journey. While silver did hit a 2-week low of $47.53 in early trade, it did recover to over $49 in late trading before retracing a touch. I also noted that it did fall below that for some time. After investors gained confidence that the US and China would soon achieve a trade deal, silver fell over 12%. That is currently somewhat uncertain. Trump has been vocal about his belief that a fair deal would be reached between the US and China following his meeting with Xi Jinping in South Korea later this month. A meeting with Xi may not happen, though, as Trump warned yesterday. The outcome is that tariffs and trade agreements are once again rather uncertain. We will now have a reasonable agreement. In addition, Trump stated on Tuesday, "I think we're going to have a very successful meeting." But he subsequently added, "Maybe it won't." For example, someone may express their disapproval of meeting. It's disgusting. However, it's actually rather mild. Yahoo News reports that when there are indications of global trade uncertainty, demand for safe haven assets like silver and gold tends to rise. The general consensus is that the Federal Reserve will decrease interest rates at its policy meeting next week, which bodes well for silver prices. Silver and other non-yielding assets should do well if the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates. Actually, there is a 96.7% probability of a half-point drop, according to the Fed monitoring tool. No one thinks it will get a quarter-point reduction. Instead, just 3.3% of people think it will remain the same, so clearly no one expects a half-point drop. If it remains unchanged, though, you should be cautious. That, in my opinion, indicates that the silver price is about to plummet. However, in my opinion, that is not going to transpire. The consensus seems to be that either prices will stay high or the Fed will drop rates by a quarter point. Prior to this gathering, investors will be concentrating on Friday's delayed U.S. Consumer Price Index data for September. If the data come out better, it could indicate that the Fed is under less pressure to cut rates, which could lead to a further smackdown of prices. This is because people will likely want to chase profits due to the high silver price, which is still relatively low compared to not long ago. And even if they do decide to cut them, the focus will be on the next meeting's direction. Since reaching a record high of $54.50, the price of silver has fallen sharply, with the 20-day exponential moving average sloping upwards and trading at about $49.04. Silver's near-term trend has grown ambiguous. Relative Strength Index is only one more indicator that technical analysts look at. It has dropped below 60, indicating that the bullish momentum has ended, at least for the time being. In the event that silver prices go below the intraday low of $47.53, we may see more declines towards the lows of $45.90, October 2nd, and $43.78, September 25th. However, for the time being, it will be prevented from sliding much more due to trade tensions and the possible risk of fresh taxes on China. Although it may get dull for a time, higher silver prices are sure to remain in this region as long as geopolitical uncertainty in Russia, China, Taiwan, and elsewhere persists, as I mentioned before. But for the time being, we will observe developments here. However, there is another important consideration when considering the silver's role in mending the supply chain as a whole. particularly in light of the COMEX, VALT, and the LBMA. It will be difficult to regain the $50 price of silver for the same reason, in my opinion. Give me a moment to elaborate. According to my report on this morning's video, which you can find linked at the bottom of this video, the London Bullion Market Association is once again seeing silver delivery. Put another way, a ton of silver, that's 1,000 ounces and more, is making its way back into the vaults in London. The backwardation numbers have been reduced as a result. Put simply, silver has recovered a significant portion of its previous loss, as its current selling price of $47.48 indicates. The current price is $48.52, a decrease of 22 cents. There is a $48.24 futures price. There is a difference of around 25% between the two figures, so backwardation is getting narrower. There will soon be no more backwardation. Everyone. So, the market tension and crisis are not there anymore, or at least not to the same extent. They are beginning to disappear. Now, there is some cause for concern because the Chinese market and the Asian market as a whole have become somewhat isolated. However, that problem has been escalating for some time. Although its overall impact has been minimal, it continues to garner news coverage and will continue to exert pressure as arbitrage possibilities emerge. Therefore, we will also keep an eye on that. Additionally, something will likely break in that way at some point in the future. However, London is crucial at this stage. There is currently less cause for alarm in London because the city is beginning to show signs of revival. This bodes well for the prospect of a slight decline in the price of silver. As we strive to regain that $50 market, I believe it will remain in this level for some time. In my opinion, we are capable of carrying it out. There won't be many shocks going forward, but I do believe it will happen before the year ends. But it's possible that I'm mistaken about everything. Unanticipated events can occur. We witnessed strong paper-silver trading volume again, about equal to Friday's, but with more damage after yesterday, suggesting some sort of number or situation might arise. Around that period, something like 800 million ounces of paper silver changed hands. In light of the current state of the market, that is another consequence that we are considering. In contrast, nearly all respondents, 97%, to the FedWatch tool for the October meeting anticipate a quarter-point reduction, and then it shows another quarter-point drop at the December meeting. Also, it's possible that 96.5% of people think it will happen there. With the exception of December, no one is anticipating a half-point cut at any given moment,